All right, we have some Long Island Railroad changes to talk about regarding the East Side access work only on one day. But once again, the railroad has made some really bad decisions regarding that East Side access work that's going to be affecting the evening rush hour. And the thing is that guess who gets screwed again? The main line. No one on the Babylon branch gets screwed except for you'll see here. So let's read what's going on June 22nd, 2018. That's a Friday. Uh, Huntington, the Huntington 6:30 p.m. That's this train 1736 Hicksville train will be canceled, and the 6:35 train number 1738 will make all stops New Hyde Park through Huntington, and 980 passengers will be added to the 880 passengers on the 6:35 train, which is train 1738, resulting in a severely overcrowded train at 1,830 passengers. That train is going to be a nightmare. In addition to that, the Oyster Bay branch, the 616 from Penn, originates at Jamaica at 6:27. So that's normally a dual mode. It's going to start at Jamaica, and a stop is being added to the preppy little flyer, the 605. Three-stop flyer to Wantagh will make an added stop at Jamaica to transfer over to the Oyster Bay train. I'm sure the snobs are going to whine about that, but we're dealing with far worse. So, obviously, Elisa Picca is behind these things. I really do think Elisa Picca is what is behind this continued discrimination against the main line, and as long as she's there, we're going to see more of this nonsense. Now, here's what I would do. All right, train 1736, because there's a limited capacity at Harold or something like that. It has to do with East Side access work. Whatever. Train 1736 will run on an adjusted schedule. This is the train to Huntington. It will leave at 6:27 p.m. instead of 6:30, and we will cancel the Penn-Jamaica-Babylon train number 164 that normally leaves at 6:27. It's going to be canceled because it only makes Penn Station, Jamaica, and Babylon to connect up with the Montauk train. So, again, the Montauk connection has its own little train that goes out there. That train will be canceled, all right? Because there's another train that comes just a few minutes later. Jamaica connections will be made from train 1736. So anybody who normally takes the 627 to transfer other trains at Jamaica will now take the 627 to Huntington. All right, the times will still be the same. It's just that the end destination is going to be different. All right, and customers going to Babylon will be accommodated by the 633 train, number 166, arriving at Babylon at 7:35. So it's only going to get to Babylon 10 minutes later. All right, the connecting train to Speonk will leave at 7:40 instead of 7:30. So again, only 10 minutes later. Train 164 carries 740 passengers. So we're canceling a train that carries less passengers than that Huntington train, all right? And train 166 carries 920 passengers. That one's a little more crowded. The combined train will be crowded at 1,660 passengers. But that's still not as much as the Huntington train will be. But that train is going to be extended from 10 cars to 12 cars. So I'm trying to accommodate people on the Babylon branch. I'm not going to screw them over. I could easily just screw them over, but I'm trying to use the resources more sensibly. So in addition, what's going to happen is the 610 train to Freeport, that's train number 1158, it's going to be extended to Babylon. All right? I could also extend the 605, but I'd rather do the 610 because that's closer to the 627. So if people want to avoid the 627 being canceled, they can take the 610. All right? And that train will be extended to Babylon. It's going to stop at Jamaica. I'm adding a Jamaica stop on that too. Rockville Centre, Baldwin, Freeport. It's not going to stop at Merrick, Belmore, and Wantagh because the 605 stops there. And it'll go to Seaford, Massapequa Park, Amityville, Copaigue, Lindenhurst, and Babylon to relieve any possible overcrowding on train 164. So this is what I would do. We're going to look at the schedules now and show you what they did. And this definitely has to do with Elisa Picca. She is still calling the shots there at the Long Island Railroad and overriding filling with a lot of this stuff, screwing the main line while the Babylon branch gets left alone just because. All right, so if you scroll down on the MTA page, you'll see East Side access track work only on June 22nd, 2018. So that's where these schedules are coming from, and I'll show you what they did with the Port Jefferson branch. So we're looking at the tracks, the schedule, the special schedule for that day. And you'll see here, well, let's see, I might have to zoom in a little bit. You're probably not going to be able to see that, so let's zoom in a little bit. Okay, so we're looking at the schedule here, and you will notice that the 6:30 train is gone. All right? 6:30 train is gone. Now, that 6:27, that Babylon train winds up connecting up with a Port Jefferson train. So instead what's going to happen is this Huntington train will connect up with that Port Jefferson train. Because we're going to swap. Well, this is what I would do. All right? But that's not what's going on, because Elisa Picca is like, you're not touching my preppy lily white snobs on the Babylon branch, so you'll have to suffer. So they've canceled the 6:30 train, all right? And so they've extended the 6:35 now to Huntington. So 6:35 normally stops at Hicksville, all right? It's going to extend all the way to Huntington now, which is going to result in a severely overcrowded train. So if we look at this schedule, you'll see that, we'll zoom this in a little more, and you'll see here that the 6:30 train that normally runs, it stops Jamaica, and then it runs express and stops at Hicksville, and then all stops to Huntington. That train, this train, and this train are now combined into one train, and this is going to cause some serious overcrowding, and it was a really dumb idea to do. Really dumb idea. Meanwhile, if we go and look at the Babylon branch, let's go ahead and look at the Babylon branch. There are no changes. No changes at all. So if we look at the what I was talking about earlier, this 6:27 train, all right, this connects up with that Port Jeff train at Jamaica, and then it's express all the way to Babylon to connect up with the Montauk train, all right, that starts at Babylon, like a shuttle from there to Speonk, all right, gets in at 7:25, and that connection leaves at 7:30, all right. But there's another train that's literally 5 minutes later that runs to Jamaica, and then it runs express to Seaford. All right? And then there's the 6:36 that goes to Wantos. You see all the service they get compared to the Huntington branch. All right? So there'll be alternate service. Again, what they should have done is canceled this 6:27 and had the 6:33, be the connection train for that Montauk train. And that 6:27, basically this slot here that's being used for this waste of space train will go to the Port Jefferson train. But that's not what's going on. I mean, it's going to go to the Huntington train. But that's not what's going on, because the snobs, they don't want to suffer. So they're not suffering at all. So that's the schedule. It's the construction schedule, and you'll see that there's no I'm going to have to bring this up. I really need to go to that committee meeting on Monday. We have to bring this up because this is not fair. So you'll see here what happens here, all right, is the 6:27. That's 6:27. All right, train will run Fridays only in June. These have different connection times, I guess. Train runs Monday through Thursday only, except train. So these are different connection times, basically. It's all they are. Different connection times at different times. I guess they have different times. I guess they give 5 more minutes on the Monday through Thursday than Fridays only. So, but anyway, the 6:27, this train here needs to be canceled. All right, and the 6:33, which is just a few minutes later, will become the connection train. All right, because it's a waste of space. Again, the Babylon branch isn't touched. They don't lose any of their service. But the Huntington branch, which is much more crowded, does lose service. Just because, The other thing that I want to show you, the Oyster Bay branch. So Oyster Bay branch is also going to get screwed that day, because what's going to happen here, you'll see here that this train here, I'll go and look at the regular schedule and I'll show you that this train here, the 6:16, the dual mode from Penn Station, this will not run on that day, all right, because of the limited capacity, I guess, or whatever. What's going to happen is it's going to start at Jamaica. So Oyster Bay will not get any dual mode service for the evening rush on that one day. And what we'll have to do is take the pretty little Babylon train, 6:05 to Wantaw, which will be adding a stop at Jamaica, and you will have to transfer over there to your connecting train at 6:36. All right, so that's what's going to have to happen. All right, and it's going to be a real mess. It's going to be a mess because they're already taking cars off the Oyster Bay trains and they're getting crowded as a result of this mess. All right, so this is what we have going on. All right, so it's all because the snobs, they don't want to be touched. So again, can the 627, but we all know Elisa Picca is not going to do it. She doesn't want, we can't touch us. Sorry, you can't touch us. Elisa Picca needs to resign immediately. Phil Eng needs to fire her, but I don't know if Phil Eng has the power completely to fire her, because she was appointed by Patrick Nowakowski. All right, she's looking over Phil Eng. I noticed when I go to the, when we've gone to the question and answer, she's always watching over him, making sure she keeps him in line because she wants to make sure he's not going to mess with the pretty little Babylon branch. Well, it's too freaking bad, snobs. Things are going to change, and I'm going to keep speaking. If I have to go to every freaking committee meeting, I will do that. The other thing we have to talk about is the what's going on today and tomorrow. And what's going on is the Oyster Bay branch and the Port Jefferson branch are being screwed because we need equipment to serve the Montauk branch due to the U.S. Open at Shinnecock. And as a result, these are the trains that are affected. So we've been over this before. Again, what's going to happen on Friday is happening today. You have to take the 605 train from Penn Station to the Montauk train. It's going to stop at Jamaica. You're going to get off, and you're going to transfer over to your Oyster Bay train at 6:36. All right. And in the morning, also, Oyster Bay train 550 from Oyster Bay is going to terminate at Jamaica, and you'll have to transfer at Jamaica to westbound service to Penn Station. So it says it right here. 6:16 p.m. Peak eastbound Oyster Bay train will originate from Long Island City. Actually, it's going to originate from Long Island City instead of Penn Station, and will stop at Hunters Point Avenue, 619, before arriving at Jamaica Station, 634. Additionally, the 5:50 a.m. Peak westbound Oyster Bay train will terminate at Jamaica instead of Penn Station. Customers will board the 703 for service to Penn Station. All right, so that's the Oyster Bay branch, and then the Port Jefferson branch too is screwed by this as well because the train is actually canceled. They've actually canceled a train. So due to the U.S. Open at Shinnecock Hills, the 4:49 p.m., I'll zoom this in a little more, the 4:49 p.m. Peak eastbound Port Jefferson train from Penn Station will originate at Jamaica at 5:12. The 6:08 p.m. Peak eastbound Port Jefferson train from Hunters Point will not run, and that's a crowded train. Customers from Hunters Point Avenue will board an earlier train at 5:47 to connect to the 6:08 and 6:21 eastbound Peak trains from Penn at Jamaica Station. Additionally, this 5:44 a.m. Peak westbound Port Jefferson train will terminate at Jamaica Station instead of Penn Station. Customers will board the 7:03 a.m. train at Jamaica Station for service to Penn Station. All right, so here's what the schedule looks like for the eastbound service. All right, you see here, this one is canceled. All right, 6:42. It stops at Mineola at 6:42, and a lot of people get off that train at Mineola, so that's canceled. They're not going to add any stops at Mineola to the other trains. It's only 2 days. I understand it's only 2 days, but this is just another example of the discrimination that we have to face, because of demographics. You're canceling crowded trains you should never, ever touch, and they're canceling them just because a certain group of people can't be inconvenienced. And I'm tired of it. I really am. All right, westbound service here. So this is the 5:44 from Port Jefferson. This will terminate. This will end at Jamaica, I think. Let's see. It says, it will terminate at Jamaica, and people will have to transfer. All right. So that is what's going on with the changes.